In this video, we are going to learn how to solve these chemistry problems under chemical equations and chemical symbols. So we have 5 repeated questions to practice in this video. Let's get started. The first question I have here says, consider the reaction represented by the following equation. The value of y in the reaction is... Alright, so let's balance this chemical equation. Let's move over to our sketchbook now and balance this equation and come back here. Let me show you guys how you can solve this problem. Alright, so in that question we are given this chemical reaction. We have, this is ethane plus, we had y here, hydrogen gas, to give you ethane. So we have to balance the chemical equation. So to balance this, we have 2 atoms of carbon here, we have 2 atoms of carbon here, so carbon is balanced. We have 4 atoms of hydrogen, these 2 plus these 2 here, that's 4. We have 6 here, it's not balanced. So to balance this hydrogen, we are going to replace this y here with 2. Okay, so when you replace this y here with 2, this hydrogen now will now be, these 2 you have added, replacing y, we multiply this 2 here, will now be 4 plus this 2 that is here, will now be 6. So hydrogen is now 6 and hydrogen is still 6 here. So hydrogen atom is now balanced. Alright, carbon still remains 2 atoms of carbon and 2 atoms of carbon. So this will give you the balanced chemical equation. So from what we have here, we can deduce that the value of y, because we replace y with 2 to balance the equation, so the value of y is now 2. Alright, so let's go back. So the value of y is now what? 2. Okay, so 2 will balance this chemical equation when you replace y with 2. That's it for this question. The next repeated question will be this one. It says, if the atomic number of an element X is 11 and that of nitrogen is 7, the most likely formula of the nitride of X is... So this will give you, so atomic number of 11 is sodium, atomic number of 7 is nitrogen. Okay, so that will give you sodium nitride. Sodium has 1 electron at the atomic shell and it's going to give out that 1 electron to attain stability, whereas nitrogen has 5 electrons at the atomic shell. It's going to require 3 electrons to attain stability. So what will happen in this reaction between sodium and nitrogen is that nitrogen will transfer the 3 electrons is needing to sodium, whereas sodium will transfer the 1 electron is going to give back to nitrogen. So when that happens, I'm going to have sodium nitride. Option C is the right answer to this question. Okay, so sodium received the 3 electrons nitrogen is requiring, whereas nitrogen received the 1 electron sodium is giving out. So that's it for this question. The next question with this one, it says, what are the values of x, y, and z respectively in the following equation? So it's just the same thing. Let's balance it here. Manganese is 1, manganese is 1, is balanced. So oxygen is 2 here, oxygen is 1. So to balance oxygen, you're going to add 2 at this value of y. So when you do this, oxygen will now be balanced. Okay, so once 2 is at this value of y, it will affect every other element here. Okay, so oxygen is now 2. Then the hydrogen gas will now be 4 atoms. These 2 times this 2 at this y will now be 4. So we need to go back to this equation. Since hydrogen is now 4, let's balance hydrogen here at the left. So you add 4 at this value of x. So when you add 4 at this value of x, it will now be hydrogen atom will now be 4, hydrogen atom will now be 4, right? Because these 2 at this value of y times these 2 below the molar number of this hydrogen atom will now be 4. 2 times 2, 4. 2, 4 here already, 4 here. So hydrogen is balanced. So oxygen is still 2. Then oxygen is still 2. Oxygen is still balanced. Manganese is still 1. Manganese is still 1. Manganese is balanced. So for chlorine, chlorine is 4. And chlorine gas is also 4 here. This 2 here plus this 2 here will give you 4. So that means this value of Z, nothing is added to it, it will be 1. So that means in this equation we balanced, our value of X here is 4, our value of Y here is 2, and our value of Z here is 1. So the right option to this question is option B. So when you put these values respectively for X, Y, and Z, that's 4, 2, and 1, you're going to have a balanced equation for this reaction. So that's it for this question. Next simple question will be this one. It says determine the mass of sulfur 4 oxide obtained when 91 gram of oxygen reacts completely with sulfur according to the following equation. So we have sulfur plus oxygen gas to give you sulfur 4 oxide. Now guys, to solve this question, this is simple mathematics. Okay, so let's go to a sketchbook. Now let me show you how you can solve this kind of problem. It's actually very easy. We have to find determine the mass of sulfur 4 oxide. Okay, the mass of sulfur 4 oxide. Let's solve this. So guys, this is the reaction we have sulfur plus oxygen gas to give you sulfur 4 oxide. We have to find the mass of sulfur 4 oxide, and we are given the mass of oxygen to be 91 gram. So you know that in chemistry your number of mole equals mass over molar mass, right? So the mass of oxygen we have it to be 91 gram over the molar mass of oxygen will be, since we have the relative atomic number of oxygen to be 16, so and we have 2 atoms of oxygen here to be 16 times 2, that's 32 equals, not know the mass of sulfur oxide, we are looking for it. So the molar mass of sulfur oxide will be, so the relative atomic mass of sulfur is 32. So it will give you 32 plus oxygen, we have 2 atoms of oxygen here, that's plus 16 plus 16. So if you add everything together, you're going to have 64. So when you cross multiply, you're going to have 91 times 64 equals 32x. Divide both sides by 32. So let's make a calculator and punch this. That will give us the answer to this question. So we have 91 times 64 over 32. So we have it to be 182 gram. So the mass of sulfur oxide will be 182 gram. So the right option is option D, 182 grams. As simple as this. Last, before I end this video, let's look at the last question. It says what volume of oxygen at STP is required to burn completely 7.5 dm cube of methane according to the following equation. So this is methane reacts in oxygen gas to give you carbon dioxide and water. Okay, so you just apply EAGLESCLASS law of combining volumes. So what's the mole ratio? We have 1:2:1:1. We are looking for the volume of oxygen at STP. So the mole ratio of oxygen here is 2. Alright, so it will now be according to EAGLESCLASS law of combining volumes, and we're having 7.5 dm cube of methane according to the following equation. Okay, this oxygen as STP required to burn completely this volume. So and the mole ratio of oxygen is 2. So all you simply need to do is to multiply this 7.5 dm cube by this mole ratio of oxygen here gas. So that's 7.5 times 2, which will give you 15. dm cube. That will be the answer to this question, option B. So this basically can do problems involving chemical equations and symbols for your chemistry practice with 5 weekly questions for this topic. Hope you learned something interesting from this video. Let's go to the video, guys. If you are new to this channel, ensure that you subscribe to this channel by hitting the subscribe button for more of these videos. Also like, share and comment on this video. Tell me how you feel from what you learned from this video. If you seem to have any specific questions to ask regarding what I talked about in this video, feel free to leave your question in the comment section below, and I'll ensure to give you a response. Also ensure that you're part of the channel membership by clicking on the join button, where you'll be getting premium information that will help you to excel in your exams to be writing. Alright, so having done this, click on the next button and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.